everyone, welcome back to my channel. Marnie has turned 6 months old now, which means we have entered the wonderful world of weaning, and we waited until she was 6 months old for no other reason than I just didn't think she was ready. I've started a little bit earlier with Merrin, my second baby, and Aiden, my third. I think we started around 4.5, 5 months with them. Dylan, I waited till 6 months as well, because that was the advice at the time, and I was a first time mum, so I was just following what I was told. I used my instinct a bit more with babies 2 and 3, and with Marnie, I just didn't feel like she was ready. She wasn't sitting up, she wasn't really showing much interest in my food or anybody else's, and she seemed perfectly content and happy with just being breastfed. She didn't seem particularly hungry. But I would say now, since we've started introducing solids into her diet, she definitely has more of an appetite, and she is sitting up, as you can see, in her high chair really well and showing an interest in food. Even 4th time around, I find that weaning is so daunting. I felt it with every baby, and I've always turned to YouTube or blogs or Google for advice and tips and just information, because every baby's different and things change. Baby-led weaning wasn't a thing when, or at least it wasn't something I had heard of when Dylan, my first, was a baby. It was just purees, Annabelle Caramel for the win, and that was just the way I went. And as a result, that's what I did with Merrin, and with Aiden we did mostly purees, but I think I dabbled a little bit more in finger foods and things like that with him, just because there was more information out there and lots of people were talking about it on YouTube, so I tried it too. With Marnie, I think, again, we'll do a bit of a combination of the two. She has only been trying solids for... We started when she turned 6 months, but she and I have both been quite poorly. We've just had colds and been quite banged up. No one can hear what I'm saying. Do you want to say something? You're a monkey. Marnie and I have both been quite unwell. We've had colds and just been really bunged up and feeling a bit rotten, so I didn't kind of jump into it wholeheartedly as I might have done had she been feeling herself. I don't think she could taste things properly because she was so bunged up. She couldn't breathe very well through her nose, so we've just very gently introduced solids over the last couple of weeks, and I would say it's only in the last week, and she's 6 months and 3 weeks old today. This is her 3rd week of being 6 months old anyway, and it's only this week that we've really started going for it. So I just thought I would share with you today some of the equipment that I think, for me at least, are essential things for weaning a baby, and a haul of some of the first foods that I've bought for her to try. I'm no expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm just a mum sharing my weaning journey over the course of 4 babies, and it's funny how you really do feel like you're starting from scratch with everyone, at least I do. So I'll start off by sharing what I think are the essentials that you really need when you're weaning a baby. You don't need a great deal. I think it can be quite off-putting and quite daunting when you first start reading about weaning. You think you need all these contraptions and gizmos and fancy things to wean your baby. You really don't, and some things I've accumulated along the way, other things I just like because they make life easier, but you certainly don't need all the things I'm about to show you. The only thing you really need is a bowl and a soft tip spoon of some description, and a high chair or some kind of chair that the baby can sit upright in. So the first thing you will need is a bowl and a spoon, obviously to feed your baby, a soft tip spoon. And this set is actually one that Marnie was given for Christmas in her stocking, and I just really love it. You don't need one like this. I just particularly like it because it looks nice. But any baby feeding bowl, or any bowl to be honest, is absolutely fine. The only thing you will definitely need is a soft tip feeding spoon, because you don't want to be feeding your baby with metal spoons because they're just hard for their little mouths. So this one is like a silicone tipped spoon, and this is actually a bamboo baby bowl, and they do them in all colours, and I just think they're really pretty, and it has a suction doobie what's it on the bottom, so it sticks onto a table or the high chair tray and can't be flipped or tipped over. So that is her first weaning bowl and spoon, but I also picked up these Munchkin Spoons. Obviously you'll want to have more than one spoon in case they go missing and things, so I picked up this pack from the supermarket. They were half price in the sale, and they are Munchkin soft tip infant spoons. I like that they are rainbow coloured. There are 6 in the packet, and I think they were less than £3, so that is a bargain. If you're going to be making your own purees for your baby, I would recommend batch cooking wherever you can. It just makes life so much easier if you can do it all in one go and freeze the portions in the right size, and then you can just take one out of the freezer at a time when you need it. So if you're going to be doing that, these are an essential. I've tried all different brands and designs of what is essentially an ice cube tray. You could just use an ice cube tray, that would work perfectly fine. But these were, again, these were quite cheap in the supermarket, and what I like about them is that they are in a rack of ice cube trays, but they are removable pots with little lids. You could literally take this out of the freezer and take it on the go in the little pot, and it's sort of a self-contained thing, so I quite like that. Then you will also need a sippy cup for drinks. I've tried, again, probably every design and type of sippy cup that you can possibly get, and to be honest, I found that the best one is the Tommy Tippy, really basic. It's just got a little spout that you push down and pull up. But I also thought I would give this one a go just because I've never seen them before and I quite like the design. This is by the brand Munchkin as well, and it's a 360 cup, and basically it's got like a, it hasn't got a spout, but it's got like a, what would you call that? I don't know what you'd call that. It's got a little doodah there that releases the liquid, and no matter what angle they drink it from, it like releases what's inside. You'll also need something in which to cook and blend your baby food. Now, you don't need anything fancy for this. This time around, I've actually got a 2-in-1 steaming and blending baby, like a mini food processor. I've never used one of those before. I'm excited to give it a go, but it's certainly not a necessity. You can absolutely make do with what you already have. In the past, I've just used my own cooking equipment, one of those handheld zapping blender wand things, and a fork to mash bananas and avocados because they don't need cooking and blending, and that was me good to go. So somebody wanted to get out and sit with me instead, so that's what we're doing. So I've been out and bought a load of first foods for Marnie to try, and these are all foods that I've tried with my babies before, which have gone down well, or combinations that have worked well, flavours that have worked well together, and just easy first foods to prepare for your baby. So I'll show you what I got and what I'm planning to do with them. So the first thing I got is good old bananas. As I said, Marnie's already tried these, she really likes them, and all I do with this is take half a banana or a third of a banana if it's a particularly big one, and mash it up with a fork. Sometimes I will just give her that mashed banana and add a little bit of her regular milk or whatever milk I have in the house, to be honest, a tiniest amount with it just to loosen it up slightly. So we're talking half a teaspoon of milk, and then I will give her that, or I will mix it with some baby rice, and that makes more of a porridge consistency, and then she loves that. She has that for breakfast at the moment. So the baby rice I went for is the Ella's Kitchen banana multigrain baby rice. I'm a massive fan of Ella's Kitchen. I have used their pouches and will use their pouches, I'm sure, with Marnie. They're so convenient if you need to pop out anywhere or you just don't have anything prepared and ready. Aiden absolutely loved the Ella's Kitchen. I think it's strawberry and banana baby porridge, and that's for when, I think that's from 7 months plus, so I'll be getting that soon for Marnie. I also picked up some pears. These are just organic conference pears. We did try pear a little while ago and she wasn't massively fussed on its own, so I'm going to persevere, and I think I will try these possibly combined with a vegetable. Just, I'm thinking possibly it was the texture, because obviously pear is quite grainy, so maybe it was that she didn't like. So if it's mixed with something that's a bit smoother, she might take to it a bit easier. Look, her little hand keeps coming up to grab the packet every time I lift them up. Apples are a great one to start with as well because they're so easy to prepare. You can literally just put them in a pan to soften with a tablespoon of water and then puree them at the end, and they're good to go. When the baby's a little bit older, you could even try adding a little bit of cinnamon to the puree, because that's just a nice flavour combination and introducing some new tastes. And apples combine really well with other things as well. Avocados are one of my absolute favourite things to eat for lunch anyway, so it just makes sense to cut a bit up for the baby. Aiden used to eat this mashed up for his lunch and it was one of his favourites, or I would just cut it up for him and give it to him that way. When he got a bit older, I would mash it onto some toast and he loved that as well, so I'm looking forward to trying this with Marnie. I do have some carrots, but I'm not sure where they've gone. They're not in front of me for some reason. But carrots are obviously a really good one, as are parsnips. I bought these to combine with something. I don't feel like you need to try everything individually as a flavour. I did certainly with Dylan, I did, you know, a week of sweet potato and then a week of pear and a week of apple as you're advised to. But I just think once your baby gets past 6 months, my health visitors advised me this time around, you can just kind of go for it. So my intention with the parsnips is to mix them with other veg and fruit. So I thought I might do carrots, parsnips and apples, or maybe sweet potato, parsnips and apples. I'm not sure, but you really can play with flavours and veg and fruit to get a combination that your baby particularly likes. The next thing I picked up was a butternut squash. I didn't get too big a squash just because this smaller one will last ages anyway. The easiest way to prepare this, because I cannot bear peeling and chopping up and de-seeding a butternut squash, is just so tedious. So the best thing to do is to roast it and then scoop out the flesh of the butternut squash and mash it with some milk or some water or some baby stock, whatever you prefer. And that is by far the quickest way of preparing a squash for your baby. Again, I'm planning to mix this with something else, so possibly with the pear and maybe some broccoli. And here's the broccoli. Broccoli is a good one to mix with things. It's obviously great for iron and it's just a good food all round. So when the baby gets a bit older, I tend to do a broccoli and cauliflower cheese sauce and whiz that up together, so it's like cauliflower cheese but with broccoli added to it. That always goes down really well. But in the early days of weaning, I just mix this with other fruit and veg. Another one I've bought but I haven't brought to the table for some reason to show you is a bag of sweet potatoes. Again, like the butternut squash, you can peel them and chop it up and steam it and do it that way, or you could just pop it in the oven if you're short on time or you just want something that's a little bit easier than having to do all the chopping and the peeling. You could just pop it in the oven and roast it and then mash it afterwards. And some other first foods that I picked up for Marnie, which aren't fruit and veg related, are these yogurts. They are the Petit Filou, my first vanilla flavour. I have tried these before with Aiden and they don't taste anything like vanilla. They're not very sweet at all. You can mix them with fruit puree, you can have them on their own, you can mix them into porridge, whatever you want to do with it, but mine have all adored yogurts. Then the very last things I got was some Snacky Bits. You may have seen Marnie playing with this bag earlier on in the video, but she hasn't actually tried these ones yet. They're, again, Ella's Kitchen. I got these and these ones, which are the savoury ones. These are the carrot and parsnip melty puffs, suitable from 6 months, organic finger food. She's tried these already and she really liked them, as did Aiden and Merrin. Then I also got the strawberry and banana flavour, which I haven't opened yet, but I'm sure she'll love them. And the very last snacky thing that I got for her were these Licious blueberry wafers. Again, they melt in the mouth. They're not sort of hard or crumbly, they just sort of melt away. And I thought these would be great for dipping in things. These as well, actually. I thought she could dip them in yogurt or in cream cheese or, I don't know, something like that. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this video and that it was useful or interesting or just fun to watch if you're thinking or about to start weaning your baby. I have lots of weaning related videos planned for the upcoming weeks and months, so if that's something that's of interest to you, then please do click the subscribe button so you don't miss them. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one.